Hi, my name's Phil and welcome to LabourVision, where we take a look at Labour policies around a particular theme. In this video, I'd like to look at Labour's policies for restoring trust in politics. Ipsos Mori have been surveying trust in a range of professions for decades, really, and the latest results are terrible. Record low trust in politicians, to tell the truth. The record high was during Labour's last period in office, by the way, but let's not pretend that politicians are ever a widely trusted group of professionals. Politics is a fantastic way to improve your society, but it's also a great route to wealth and power for the unscrupulous. So it attracts both the best and worst of mankind. So a politician is never going to be as trusted as much as a nurse, the profession leading the trustworthy rankings right now. The Conservatives are deeply mistrusted by the public, so much so that they know they can't possibly rectify that perception now. So for the last 2 years, their strategy has been to claim that everyone else is just as bad. Oh yeah, we're really corrupt, but so are Labour. After all, if voters see all politicians as being as corrupt as each other, then the perception of the Tories being corrupt is no longer an electoral problem because you see, well, who can we vote that's not corrupt? So Labour are fighting back. Starmer said this week that not all politicians are as bad, but what are Labour's policies to back this up? Well, there are several. Let's begin with the latest. In the wake of the sheer scale of corruption during our COVID response in 2020, the public can see just how badly the public purse is being defrauded. Several other countries, including the United States, have a specific criminal offence against defrauding the public purse. The UK does not. We don't have a law specifically against it. Arguably, we should have caught up with advanced economies some time ago, but Labour have now announced that they would introduce such a law in government with a punishment of up to 10 years imprisonment. The challenge is now for the Tories to introduce the same legislation before the election. After all, what good reason could there be for not doing so? Without a specific offence, investigations are more complex, wasting more police and court time when trying to prosecute cases with more generic legislation. Case in point, the criminal investigation into Michelle Mone and Doug Barrowman, that's been running for over 2 years now. Might the investigation have been quicker, easier and cheaper if the National Crime Agency and prosecutors had specific legislation to work with? I'm not sure I see members of the public disagreeing with that. So will the Tories introduce this legislation themselves? I suspect not. But as well as seeing the need for a specific offence for what has been exposed as a widespread problem, we can also see Rishi Sunak writing off almost all of the PPE fraud and all of the furlough fraud. Billions of pounds worth of fraud that we know is happening. We know it's there. We could investigate it. Rishi Sunak has written it all off. But Labour have said they're going to pursue all cases of fraud against the public purse connected with COVID, PPE and furlough, and it might not end there. After all, if you recoup money defrauded from the public purse, you've got more money to spend on improving our national infrastructure. How many collapsed schools or hospitals could be rebuilt without having to take money from other budgets or put taxes up if we just prevented fraud and chased it down where it was found to occur? Another major source of public money disappearing to nothing as a result of Sunak's actions last autumn would be HS2. There were already reports of corruption and waste within the project, but the general aims were at least popular. But now that the project has been completely scrapped, we're left wondering who ended up with all the money and why. When Sunak announced the scrapping of HS2, the first thing I said was that Labour should hold a public inquiry into the project. Then a few days later, Rachel Reeves announced just that policy at the Labour Party conference in October. The inquiry will investigate how the budget for HS2 managed to overrun so badly, in order that future projects are managed more tightly. And that is a very good reason for holding an inquiry. We've definitely got lessons to learn, and Labour intend to invest in our infrastructure. However, there's a political angle as well. Just as with the COVID inquiry, I guarantee it's going to turn up an epic level of corruption. This will hopefully provide the public desire to say, look, that's enough, we've had it. Make sure there's much greater transparency in the flow of public money in future. Another of Labour's policies within the realm of trust in politics concerns second jobs. Labour have a particular focus on lobbying jobs. We've seen so many cases of MPs subverting their position as an MP by lobbying for companies for money. We've seen stings where journalists pretended to hire MPs for this purpose as well. The Welsh and Scottish parliaments have bans on paid advisory roles for their members. Should be easy to do for Westminster. Now, actually tackling this form of corruption in all its forms will not be as easy as it sounds. It's part of an MP's role to offer advice, and that will include to companies as well as individuals. And the payment could be deferred until after they leave office, or it might be in some other form. Might be difficult to prevent it being in the form of donations. But the promise does at least cut out a very lucrative angle for MPs, which is dead against the public interest and will go some way to restoring trust in politicians, at least to a more reasonable level. There is an excessive number of MPs who have these paid advisory roles. They can be stopped. So these are the major Labour policies specifically aimed at tackling mistrust in politics. There are others as well, which are likely to improve trust in politics as a secondary benefit, such as regulating public services more effectively, making sure the government involves all stakeholders in legislative and investment decisions, unions, business leaders and so on. I'm very much looking forward to the book being opened up on the Teesside Freeport. That is likely to be another big scandal, which has the capacity to have a big clear out of corruption in politics. Lots to do, quite a few policies announced to get a start on doing it. But there we are. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please click the like button and subscribe to the channel for further content. And until next time, I'll see you later.